The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The Irish hills of Michigan have had some of the best racing in NASCAR as of recent memory. The high speeds upwards of 200 miles an hour and over 190 miles an hour through the center of the turns, now the fastest track in NASCAR. And as of the real world race yesterday, one of the most thrilling races of the season. What can the Cook's Landscape Group Sim500 Cup Series do here at the Irish Hills? Well, we got 100 laps to answer all those questions for you. Welcome everybody to PTR TV, round 15 of the schedule here. Sim500 Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series in 100 laps, 200 miler here at the Michigan Speedway. Brad is signing the contract on a new house, therefore Corey Silva in the booth and in the production truck, and Kevin England here as he is week to week to bring all of the action. Kevin, the real world put on a fabulous show, fuel mileage, drafting, high speeds, and we got a full good of drivers here today. Let's see what they can muster.
Yeah, this is a racer's racetrack. People just love the flat-out speed that you have. You have tire wear, you have side-by-side 2, 3, maybe 4 wide action. And Justin Fuller, he's wrestled away the Grip Sheld House, maintained earlier this spring. Jorgensen Jr. is hitting his stride as the summer solstice approaches, and lurking just under the bubble is Stephen Miles. It's shaping up to be an interesting summer stretch.
Exactly that. Here is Michigan Speedway leading things off. Of course, next week, a little bit of an anomaly in the schedule. We don't have the Mexico City road course yet, so Rockingham will be a nice change of pace, continue up the summer stretch, then head into Pocono prior to a 2-week off break, late June, early July. But that is the end of qualifying, so now just a few laps here for warm-up, 5 minutes. And so obviously you talked about the trends. I know when I covered this, David Schildhaus was the man, and he still is the man, but again, having some bad luck there. And this is not really a track there, Kevin, that you can cement that, yep, he'll get back on his high horse today. With this pack-style racing, a lot of luck, a lot of skill, a lot of right place, right time elements will be in place.
Yeah, 100 laps of action here tonight, and the fact of the matter is track position matters. You really need to be up front and fighting for your position all the way through. Tire wear is a factor. If you drive the car too hard down into the corner, if you let the car roll up and slide the nose on the exit, if you miss your marks, you'll pay the price. And we don't know, too, that this couldn't turn into some sort of fuel mileage game here tonight. They can run 46 laps, so when we get to about halfway, drivers are going to be looking at the fuel tank to see what comes into play. And, well, I think it's going to be an interesting mix, and we'll just have to see how it plays out tonight.
Yeah, of course, 100 laps. You talked about the fuel just over halfway, and no stages here, so it will be a flag-to-flag race. Only cautions will be that for cause. And did cover a race. If you watch PTR TV, you would have saw that we covered a race last night here, and there were 8 cautions and about 85 laps, and 3-4 wide racing led to a lot of that. So we'll see how these drivers can muster it here. Again, just finishing up some warm-up. We'll see who is the fastest of the warm-up session thus far. Not that everyone's turning laps, but looks like Robert Ferrari is up by what's his lap up there? He's running about a 39.5. I know probably about 39 flats. Probably won't be running in the draft, and we'll see how the tires do wear. But let's take a look at the weather conditions here. That'll lead a little bit into what the tires will do here today.
Air temperature 75, tracks 125. The sun is full, unlike the mist we saw last week. The racetrack should be a little bit greasy, and with the progressive banking, especially down there in turn one, you get down below that first seam, the track flattens out and the car will step out, and we see these drivers really in yaw sometimes coming up, especially out of turn number 2. The car steps out for you. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to see here tonight. I'm kind of interested to see if the high line comes into play. Some of these drivers know that you can get up there right on the fence like a Homestead and carry a ton of momentum, and you can't ever forget that pit road might play a factor here. Is this track has just all the different mix of dynamics to make it an interesting race.
It has just enough banking to create that high speeds, just enough size to, build up that high speeds, require the horsepower, but not enough banking to where this place would turn into a slightly smaller version of Daytona. So you're at the limit of grip, but you still have the speed, and these highly draggy, for lack thereof a better term, next-gen cars draft so well. And as you said, the multi-groove racing allows you to get out of that dirty air. And another interesting note, we were talking off air, Kevin, this is the last race that these drivers will be running in the next-gen car as it currently sits. Of course, watching this live, we have an iRacing update tomorrow, big updates to this very car. So what you do today there, Kevin, you can't necessarily take anything that you're doing today and translate it to next week, because we're basically throwing the notebook out at the end of this race.
Yeah, a lot of discussion about how the car is going to run, especially in dirty air. You were telling me that scuttlebutt on the street is the car will behave differently. And yeah, look at Tyler Dalton sliding through the grass there as he tried to get down to the right speed, 55 miles an hour here on pit road. And yeah, these drivers are going to, I think, feel the dirty air here tonight. When you come down that back straightaway, some of them like to get away from the back wall so they don't have that buffer coming through, and then you sweep up to swing down into the corner and get as much grip as possible. I know that there's a lot of changes coming, and I guess you just have to run tonight and then get your practice in for next week and see what it gives you. I love the fact that we're going to Rockingham. We were talking, you and I, about the tracks that they're retiring in order to move ahead, and one of the tracks they should never retire is Rockingham, because the character of that racetrack puts on a spectacular race, and next week we're rolling in there instead of Mexico City. So I'm for one, I'm excited to see this race and also to get to next week.
Exactly that. Next Mexico City will soon come to iRacing, but not soon enough. So we're going to head into the Rock. But right now, we got some work to do here in the Irish Hills. Starting today's race off from the front row will be Mr. Cody Harris with a 39.18. Tyler Dalton just in second by about 100th of a second. Then we have Jose Gonzalez in third with Robert Freire in fourth. Justin Fuller in fifth with Bentley Glazer in the sixth position. Seventh we'll find Mr. Mark Jorgensen. And Troy Haight, I used to race with Troy quite a bit. He's in the 8th spot. 9th and 10th we'll find the likes of Bobby Wetzel and then Eric Arnold there in 10th, Kevin. Oh, Kevin is muted here, so I'll just carry on just for a little bit. We got Jason Karlovage in 11th with Brian Macklin in 12th. Anthony Calantoni in 13th with Kevin Brown in 14th. Then we have Jimmy Coleman and Thomas George. 17th, Patrick Colby, Jeff Hollinsworth. And then rounding out our top 20, and we are rolling. We'll have to speed this through. We got David Comstock and Charles Woods.
Joey Woods starts 21st. 22nd is Mike Montesi. Alan Wild in the 07 starts in the 24th position. It'll be Randy Yoakum. Then EJ O'Rourke and Glenn Campbell, Joey Jatina and Paul Crumry. 30th starting spot tonight for Chad Coleman. James Stewart starts 31st to his outside. David Schildhouse in the 20. Joe Hudson, Nelson Rivera make up row 17, 33rd and 34th. 35th tonight for Kyle Trudell, and DeAndre Kane starts 36th. 37th for Doug Roth. Jason Pick in the 53, 38, 39th. Stephen Miles to the outside. Row 20 is Richard Beasley returning after a long layoff in the tied number 10. Josh Parker, Ron Hollifield make up 41st and 42nd starting spot, with Doug Sigmund in the 04 starting 43rd.
And I think I actually see, I don't know if it's accurate, I think I see all 45 drivers on the racetrack. So we have an extended grid +2 here today from what I can tell here at the Michigan Speedway. We expect that pace car to pull into the safety of pit lane. Again, race number 15, 200 miles here at the Michigan Speedway, and Cody Harris will lead things through. Heading into that Geico, soon to be Echo Park restart zone. Green flag in the air. Let's get racing here at Michigan.
2x2, they go off into turn number 1, and it is a clean start so far. They head down into the banking here at the Irish Hills. Is a little bit of a slip from Cody Harris, allows the 19 to draw out to the lead going down the front straightaway. And yeah, we're going to have the Brian Wertman ride and the Livingston ride 44th and 45th, which means they'll have to start out front or pit out front in a dual shared pit box tonight.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if they are both in proximity at a pit stop. But we have settled things out for the top 3 positions. They are pace lap formation, probably all the way back to about the 20th spot. And then some 2 and 3 wide sprinkles in, and they will fan out in the corner. As you said, Kevin, looking for that clean air, going top to bottom. Who is that all the way up at the fence? That's the 9 of Bobby Wetzel, trying to get everything he can get with some clean air down the nose. And then you get that massive draft and these huge next-gen draggy bodies, and that draws you right back up to the enter to the next corner.
Yeah, Wetzel's high, wide, and handsome as he rolls through turns 3 and 4. That's going to save a little bit of tire in the long run. They were 2x2 in front of him, and he had such a huge draft, didn't really have a place to put it, and he slid to the high side when he did so. That was going to move the Troy Haight 46 right in front of him, as right now the top 6 to 8 single file. Well, here comes a move from Jorgensen Jr. to the bottom. He's going to drive low and get a good run underneath last week's winner.
Somebody's taking the chicane line on the back straightaway.
I'll tell you there.
Who was that? That is Campbell, Glenn Campbell. I saw that a few times happen. We'll quickly check that out on replay. I saw it multiple times in our PTR TV broadcast last night. I think he just got loose on that seam. Again, that change of banking we talked about, and luckily there's about 10 acres of asphalt to the inside for him to save that car.
Pick up the throttle down there in that lower lane coming up off of turn 2 with cool tires. That car will step out for you, and the good news for him is he didn't find the inside wall. We maintain green as there are side-by-side battles throughout the pack here. It is so hard to get track position at this place that every run you get when you come down that backstretch, you've got to find a hole and see if you can make the pass.
I had a brief battle for the lead for Ari and Dalton. We're about to change positions. Thought the 2 was going to go for P1, but almost a little bit, as DW said, co-opetition, just kind of doing that drafting duo there, maybe trying to separate, get some distance between Harris and Gonzalez, but that will likely be short-lived. You can see them separating, and just as we say that, Cody Harris and company starting to catch back in. Single file, and that you find the 9 going up top. 46 of Troy Haight, nearly in the fence. He had to back off and lost a lot of momentum down the backstretch.
Yeah, so much fun to watch these guys go into the corner and pick their lane. Some are in the second lane, some are in the third lane, fourth, fifth. Some of them are up there in no man's land as they all come across from the high entry of the fence at the exit of the corner doing 200 miles an hour and such. And then they swing down into the corner and pick their lanes. I see one car on the move, the 41, is trying to make a good run to the outside. EJ O'Rourke, he's one of those hard chargers in the units Toyota. He's running right. 13th is Wetzel, pirouetting down there on the backstretch.
Say, I think he may have saved it. We'll just get a couple brief looks here on our replay if we can. Watch out for that number 9 Bill Elliott-esque car off of the corner. Contact with the 51 down the track. Again, using all of those 12 million lanes of runoff pavement, and I think he was the only one to really have any sort of issue from that. We'll just get one more look from our turn 3 cam here. We can watch him just go off the shot here.
Yeah, I have to wonder if the car got light on exit. When you come off of that high side, the car will kind of sweep to the left and you end up steering some to try and catch it. He might have driven across the nose, or he might have just been in the wrong place, wrong time. But for whatever the case, you generally don't get away with not hitting something when you spin off of turn 2.
Of course, back in the old days, for us old folk, we remember back when most of these tracks had all grass to the inside of the back straightaway, and there was some pretty gnarly wrecks, a couple fatal wrecks. Of course, if you go back to the kart race at Fontana back in the day, and really ever since then, all these tracks have just paved as much as you could physically pave. It is a point of contention at Daytona that they've kind of ruined things, but that's a podcast topic. But we'll catch the pace car here, and end of lap 7, we have 3 sets of tires, so wouldn't really consider using it, but you never know with these fuel strategy races there, Kevin, that might have an opportunity to pit, as a couple drivers actually have. Here comes Fuller and a bunch of drivers. Let's see if any Goodyear's going. I wouldn't imagine so.
I'm kind of interested that Fuller pulled in there and gave away a top spot, but I wonder if he's just trying to do something different from everybody else and gonna pack it full of fuel. The 9 car didn't get any damage, I would imagine, so he's gonna just get that car packed full of fuel. Even though you do a spin, I don't think the tire wear is going to be that bad. Quite a few cars actually that ducked in and topped off.
Yeah, looks like we are showing about 28th is the last driver to stay out. That's DeAndre Kane, and then you go 29th to 45th, which again, that's just verbiage you don't hear very often. Doug Sigmund there, he is in the pits, and he is rolling. So again, all 45 drivers still turning some laps here into the first caution here at Michigan, and we should have one to go. Michigan's one of those tracks that does have the expedited yellows.
Yeah, we saw the 9 sitting down there for a small period of time, so it does seem like he might have gotten a little bit of damage, only a minute or 2 at most. But Bobby Wetzel down and away. He's going to rejoin the pack here as he comes through. Cause of the first caution, Bobby Wetzel gets loose out of turn number 2, tries to catch a car, makes a little contact with the 51. It's always that awkward situation, Corey, when you have a crash with somebody and then you end up in the restart and you sit right next to them many times when you restart, and you're always thinking to yourself, how is this going to work?
Yeah, that's where you just have to really hope that each of you can swallow your pride and not make a situation worse there. Here at a speedway, I would hope that that's the case, because obviously we can see the consequences that may follow. And Wetzel did have approximately an extra 10 seconds of damage as he had a 24-second pit stop. Richard Beasley in the pits in the tide ride there, perhaps for fuel, because it was a very short stop. So 5-second stop to top off. He is just playing it safe for later, but we'll get doubled up, stacked up going down the back straightaway. Tyler Dalton and Ferrari on the front row, and more importantly, I'll say Harris and Gonzalez row number 2. A lot of times on these style of tracks, row number 2 is more important than the first row.
Yeah, and a footnote for Justin Fuller fans, the WDB diecast Cook's Landscape Group Toyota went to pit road and topped off again. He's going to start physically out in back of the pack here in the 40s as he, I guess, prioritized fuel mileage here for this race. We'll see how that plays out for him as you see him and a couple of his close friends there, Mr. Beasley, rolling in to catch the back of the pack here in turn 3 as we get ready to go back to green at the Michigan International Speedway.
It may not make sense now while you're getting extra fuel matters, but again, you never know how this turns out. That extra half gallon of gas could play dividends. But let's enter the restart zone. We'll get things going for a second time. First restart of the evening. Tyler Dalton gets things going. He gets a little bit of a jump. Both rows behind him pretty well organized. And once they get up to speed, we'll see if Dalton can retain that position.
19 leads him out of turn number 2. It is Tyler Dalton on the charge down the back straightaway. He's led every lap so far as we have a pretty good exit to the back straightaway. Everybody keeps things straight. You know, this is where Tyler Dalton's going to run well because Brad Dalton is not here tonight.
Yeah, the Dalton curse there, perhaps. And interestingly enough, Dalton turned the afterburners on. It appeared, and we have something going on mid-pack. I see that red, white, and blue car down to the inside. I think that's Calantoni. He ran all the way down to the flat, almost at the pit entry, and just behind that, nearly 4 abreast. This is all in the mid-teens that we're seeing this 4 abreast action going on. You see the 91 in the mix. That's Wesley Donaldson. You see the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, the 60 in the mix as well. All these drivers trying to get their positions while they are right in front of them. But here we go up front, battle for position. That is the 95, I believe, losing the spot or gaining the spot. That position changed either way, and now Tyler Dalton is going to have to keep an eye in that mirror.
Yeah, the 2 of Robert Friery moves to the second spot as the 95 slips back to third. They're being chased by Glazer and Kevin Brown, who had an off week last week. He's under assault right now from Mark Jorgensen Jr., who's been trying to make that bottom work. As Brown's car looks a little skatey coming up out of that corner. The car stepping out as we have a caution on the speedway here. Troubles for the 54, perhaps?
Yes, so we saw a spin of sorts from Jimmy Coleman on the back straightaway. No damage to be had, and I think the runoff pavement may be getting another friend. Up 13 of David Comstock, some light contact, and just sent him on around, little loop-de-loop, and really no harm, no foul other than track position loss.
Yeah, look, the reminiscent of the spin from the 9, but Coleman did it from the middle lane coming off, he and the 13, and you know, one of the things that happens coming up off that corner is you really let the car use all of the banking. As it drops away, the car will yaw over to the right towards the outside wall, and then it swings back just a little bit, and that swing back is where you tend to find a little bit of trouble. But for Jimmy Coleman, he did the spin cycle, didn't hit anything, and other than the tire wear he suffered, he's going to go back into his position. We'll see if he goes to pit road to get any damage fixed, but we're under caution again here on lap number 12.
Yes, we are here, and pace car is a little bit slow. That iRacing generic sedan, insert whatever you want to call it here, kind of has little semblings of everything, but that sedan will reclaim the leading of the field, and I see a couple fake out moves. Do have one taker into the pits, and that appears to be the brunt of it until you head all the way back there into the mid-30s. So getting a little early on tires. You have 3 sets. I mean, realistically, you want to use 2 for fuel at some point and then save the other one for if necessary. But same time, from what I saw last night, tire fall off wasn't huge, but it certainly helps you with agility and making some of these moves in the pack.
Yeah, Bentley Glazer gives up the 8th position. He's probably the furthest up in the running order. Fuel only for the 36, no tires on the Roland Camaro. I'm with you. 4 sets of tires that nets out, including the one they started on, to every 20 laps they can take a fresh set if they want to do the span. And if the cautions don't fall your way and you get to the end where you're on some worn tires and somebody has a fresh set underneath you or behind you, they'll be able to cut a little better. They'll be able to get a little better drive off on the corner. So you certainly want to make sure that you hit that last caution, go in and get a fresh set of Goodyears if the opportunity presents. And right now, interesting that these drivers have prioritized giving up track position for fuel mileage. I'm really fascinated to see how this is going to play out tonight.
Yeah, I would be more on board with it. And again, I am not current enough as a driver. I'm not smart enough as a driver to question anything that these guys do. They race on a weekly basis. I race once a month. I would be more understanding of the strategy if we had like a limited fuel load, but when we have the full fuel load, but again, you never know here at Michigan when that last caution is going to fly. If we get a caution that, we go back racing at lap 47, if you have more fuel in the tank, you're going to be better off. Or perhaps if you can take less fuel on your last stop, you'll be better off. It's just, you never know when that could come in handy. You just have to hope that it does come in handy, or else you gave up all that position for nothing.
Yeah, quick programming note. David Comstock was given an ELL, end of longest line, penalty for his involvement in that lap 12 incident. These drivers do have a penalty system, and if they feel they may have been at cause, they can claim the cause of the incident, and their penalty is to go to the back. And they do post-race reviews. Penalties do come out, and that is just part of the system. If you're involved in a number of incidents, you might find yourself retiring for the evening. As I have to say, I was watching Joe Hudson's car, that gold and red number 49, rolling down the back straightaway. It reminds me of Bobby Allison. What a cool-looking paint scheme.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that, especially with the spec maps doing their thing here with the updates in iRacing, allowing these certain metallic and chrome schemes to come to life. Certainly looks pretty nifty.
It's a 43 Petty car, which brings back reminiscence of the 70s as we go back to green here.
Just need a big wing on the back.
Led every lap. That's hard to do, Corey, in this type of race.
Yeah, sometimes I joke in some broadcasts about pulling a perfect race. I don't see that happening here at a track like Michigan, but if you do, you know, all the power to you. We loosely track it for the time being, but coming down through turns 1 and 2, you can see the high lane working with the 2 and the 93 of Kevin Brown, trying to stack things up. Cody Harris goes up top to get some of that momentum and put it in his direction. Takes the momentum, and still, you can see Dalton's just got those restarts down as they fan out 3 wide in turns 3 and 4.
Dalton leaves the charge. They're like fighter jets out behind him, and the 2 drivers that have really made the most hay tonight, David Schildhouse. He's inside the top 10 from his 32nd starting spot, and right behind him is Chad Coleman, who came from 30th. So these 2 drivers not wasting any time trying to get that track position that we were talking about, how important it is oh, wow, look at this run for the back straightaway here. They are just jostling all over the place.
Akin to the Indy 500 with the level of snaking we're seeing down the straightaways. But here comes Jorgensen going for the race lead. He's down there to the yellow line. It's the flatter line. It's a little bit harder to keep the speed built up there, but if you can get close enough, maybe you could pull off the side draft, keep him in tow, slow him down, pull door to door, and maybe get a little dive here into the corner. Let's see if he can clear.
A little harder to make the pass from the low line. As you drive in, you're shallow. You're not able to hold the throttle as much as possible, but he did an admirable job out of turn 2. Is there's pretty much a drag race down the back straightaway here. If he pulls over in side draft just like that, he's going to suck that 19 back, and he has the preferred line down on the bottom here. The question is, can he get the grip that he needs to get the drive off out of turn 4? He's got a nose ahead, but momentum to the 19, and it is the 19 going to lead this lap as he's led all the others so far.
Yeah, he's protecting his assets there. We saw some big pushing from Schildhouse there, back of the shot. Schildhouse with a huge dive underneath Kevin Brown, trying to use a little help from Cody Harris, but he's going to get himself in a difficult aerodynamic situation there, and that may stunt his growth. But coming down the back, I think we're closer to a lead change than we've been recently. But no, Tyler Dalton is able to get the right drafting situation down the back straightaway, retain the lead for now, and again, trying to bat that perfect race, and a little bit of contact perhaps off the corner as we have somebody going through the grass. And up the track, and
didn't draw a caution. That's I was trying to figure out who that is. We'll get a sort on that in a second. Thought it was a red car.
Yeah, I got a little trigger here on my replay. That is the 60 that went through the grass, and there was a this is the scary part. Everybody was able to navigate through that number 60 of Jason Carvalage there. But either way, we do stay green. Barney lets him play. Tyler Dalton still leading things down. Jorgensen still side by side. This is the closest we've been. Does this ruin the perfect race? No. But look at the tandem drafting, 95-93. They're trying to make a 3-wide move, go through the middle. No, they have to back off. On board with that 95 right now, and you can just see that side by side.
Mediator is there.
Just come Coming down the back.
That was Josh Parker in the 81 that made the contact with Karlovaj there.
You can see
he's the one that starts deep in the field off in Corey and runs the car through.
You can see Jorgensen here. He's starting to get tight. He's been running that side-by-side inside lane for probably 4 consecutive laps now, and I think that right front tire might be a little mad at this point. And he is starting to struggle to keep the speed down there with that line. Now Dalton has gotten a little bit of a gap, and now they're going to try to train him out on the outside lane. Nobody wants to draft with him down to the inside, and that'll push him going from 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe more.
Yeah, Michigan definitely a outside dominant racetrack. Typically on the front straightaway, especially if you're in the low line, you generally can't do anything with it. What a lot of drivers do is run that high side, get the draft at the end of the straightaway, and then sweep down and execute what is essentially a Michigan slide job. But for Jorgensen, he was down on that bottom line trying to get underneath, and really what helped Tyler Dalton is the clean air on the front of his car, and he did not pinch the car down on exit, so he was able to carry the speed off. But right now he's got a lot of hungry characters right out behind him. Harris, Donaldson, and Schildhaus are 3 wide, those 3 off of the corner with the 88 of Jorgensen Jr. He has still a little more fight in him.
Here comes Thomas George in the Valvoline car, and Valvoline and Exxon having a battle. Exxon would be Chad Coleman. Coleman with a head of steam. He's going to try to go 2 for 1, but ran out of the space there on the inside lane. Kind of got blocked in by Schildhaus, so he'll fall back in line as the outside does persevere. You can see a little bit of a breakaway. Joey Gattina in the 14. Actually, I'll cut that thought because somebody's off yonder down the back straightaway. That is James Doerr in that 08 car. Again, turn 2 pavement. If you start charging for that here, we'd be making some money if we charge every time somebody went down there.
Yeah, it almost looks, again, like one of those situations where you got loose up out of turn number 2. It's been the Achilles heel in the Tracker Boats. Bass Pro Shop 08 locked it down, prevented from hitting the inside wall, but that was a close moment for him, as I thought he was going to slide all the way down. And the good news for him is we're past lap 20, Corey, so everybody's going to go get tires and fuel.
Yeah, that takes some of the game out, but it makes you wonder with all the different plays we've had thus far. Will anybody take 2? Will anybody take fuel only? Have they already taken tires? I think a few have already taken tires. Not many, but a few. And that may shake things up there. And on that caution, 22, Nelson Rivera, he was the one who kind of sent that looseness situation to the next level. Nothing he could have done there. Hopefully no residual damage to the right front of his car, but very interested to see at the 25% distance mark. Very easy to figure that out at 100% at a 100-lap race, 25% through. Let's see, pit road going to be a busy place, but what will the pit service be is the question.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Goodyear cash registers ringing down there, as I think everybody at this point knows they're going to want fresh tires, packed full of fuel. I don't know at this stage whether I would take 2 tires. I guess some of the drivers who want to experiment in the draft, you don't get a lot of chance to run in the full pack the way we are tonight. So 2 tires would be an interesting experiment. But if I'm there, I'm Darrell Walchuk. Bolt on 4.
Or I think Dale Earnhardt once said, they said he wants you. I'm giving you 2 tires. He said, I'm not leaving till I get 4. That may be the call for some of them, but you can see there on the pit timer, most drivers taking 4 as expected, a few staying out. And you can see like Jorgensen and Hudson and Doug Roth taking 4.7. So that is some shorter stops. Let's take a look here at the stints. Oops, I did that out of order. Let's take a look at the stints on the ticker right now. And you can see 26 laps for the top 2, and then a couple drivers. So that means they've stayed out the entire race. O'Rourke and Gonzalez, Crumrye, Comstock, they have pitted recently. So you go back 8th on back. That is the first set of drivers to service on that last caution.
Yeah, and as hard as he was racing, no tires for Jorgensen Jr. He did not take any tires on that stop. I'm not sure if he took them earlier, and we have to remember he stopped earlier to get a little fuel. So all kinds of strategies going on here. But what does EJ O'Rourke have in play? As he stayed out, and he's going to be the leader over Tyler.
Yeah, very interesting. And that was his first pit stop. Based on my graphic, his first pit stop was just now. And not taking tires. So what is his thought process as to how the end of the race goes? Because if he's not taking tires, there's a reason. A, he wants the track position. Or B, he really thinks he needs to save them for later. So again, a lot of interesting plays here. With the tire wear being modest, you know, maybe a few tenths over the course of a run. It's not catastrophic as we'll see at, you know, Atlanta or old Atlanta or some other tracks or Homestead, such like that. But either way, 1 to green. EJ O'Rourke, Jose Gonzalez. The perfect game, the perfect ball game, leading every lap as expected. It ended on lap 26, Tyler Dalton. Not that we expected it, but just as a talking point.
You know, I ran this track twice this week, and what I know is that even with worn tires, you run maybe 8-10 laps, your tires go from 100% right side to around 95, sometime down into the high 80s, depending on how much you abuse them. If the car doesn't turn, you could drive it in pretty hard, and when you get in the middle, if you mash the throttle, the car breaks a little bit loose. It helps it turn the center, and you could drive off. So I don't think tire wear is as big a factor. It really hampers your ability to cut down left if you're trying to drive down underneath somebody. So I don't know. We'll see how this 41 is going to play out with the 27 of Gonzalez also are on the same tire strategy. Green flag is out. Little slip of the tire for O'Rourke. That's going to allow the 26 of Gonzalez to get away. O'Rourke tries to side draft the 26 to pull him back a little bit, see if he can keep the lead. As they head off to turn 1 and 2, he's got a good run down there on the bottom.
Oh, clear, and you can just see the normal Michigan fanning out 2-3 wide behind them as we head down the back straightaway. There goes Schildhaus in the bright yellow-blue car, that number 20. He's going to the bottom 3 wide. Of Rivera to the middle, the 49 of Hudson to the outside. You can see that grip that Schildhaus has, gained about 2 rows, and I think we're nearly 4 abreast in the middle of the pack here, and we go side by side for the lead as well at the same time.
Yeah, Krumrye has inserted his name into this, and I'm not sure that he's happy about it, as he's the meat in the sandwich right now. Down underneath, David Schildhaus to the outside is the 43 of Doug Roth, as Schildhaus surges ahead. Oh my gosh, this assault for the lead is just incredible, as everybody on fresh tires feels a little bit like Superman at this point.
And we'll keep an eye on those slightly older tires, and as you kind of predicted, not really meaning too much at this juncture, but that very well may change. Oh, who was that top to bottom? I think that was Joe Hudson there doing the elevator move. And just look at this stuff. You'd literally think we were running a plate race right now with this, with some of this racing mid-pack. Great stuff to keep it off, or good stuff to keep it clean here at Michigan, as Jose Gonzalez has taken the lead. But Schildhaus, the children will be happy. Here he goes, mid-pack, all the way up, going for the lead here, 30 laps in.
Tell you, the car I'm watching is the 41 of EJ O'Rourke. He has his hands full. He's right in the middle of that mess, just trying to hang on as best as possible. As Comstock looking on the high side, he's probably going to decide how this works out. When you get that run to the high side and you push the car ahead in front of you, that means that Jose Gonzalez is going to continue to lead the lap. Schildhaus with no partnership down there. Now he's going to get a little help maybe from the 22. But what a run through turn 1 and 2. He got a huge run out of the corner, and he's going to pull up and cover the position.
Yep. How long will that lead last, though? Who will go for it next? Doesn't Gonzalez have enough to mount another charge here? He doesn't have the same level of tires. We know that means something, even if not a lot. But thus far, he is actually not maintaining the position with Schildhaus dropping back. That's going to slow things up. Comstock, remember, he got an EOL for a caution not that long ago, I believe, if memory serves, but he's right back into the thick of it. And again, let's go 3 wide again. Almost become immune to that sentence. It's been so common. Nelson Rivera, he was just a part of one of those cautions. He's in the thick of it. Chad Coleman, he's trying to make his presence in the top 10 as well.
Yeah, you would think we're in the final quarter of the race. The way some of these drivers are pressing, they're leaning against each other. We see smoke in the air as the cars rub sides going down into turn number 3, and there's 2 and 3 wide action all the way through the pack here. I don't know how we don't have wadded up in the grass over here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, the 19 of Tyler Dalton currently running in the 19th position. He is in this absolute hoopla mess, and I mean, like I said, it's fun to watch. Some of these drivers, you could argue maybe it's a little bit too much too early. Again, us old folk here have a different style of racing than some of these young whippersnappers these days, but the old adage is, you can't win it if you ain't in it. To finish first, you must first finish. And math says, what, 67 laps to go, 1 guaranteed pit stop. I think some of these drivers are hoping this kind of thins out a little bit, just so we can get some laps in and get some rhythm. And just as I say that, Kevin Brown, he was trying to put the meat in the sandwich, but the bread wasn't separated yet.
I'll tell you, a good slip and slide over there for Anthony Calantoni out of turn number 4, but he kept his foot planted and drove himself out of it. Robert Fryery was to the outside. Brian Macklin was pushing from the back, and it is the 10 of Richard Beasley to the low side, and everybody charging the driver, making a great run off of turn 2 that time was Josh Parker. He's worked his way up into 16th position, dives low, down to the bottom line. He's going to follow. He's looking at his windshield.
Big wiggle from Calantoni off of 4. He saves it.
Everybody's sideways off of turn number 4 to 31. You could have waved at his pit crew out the front windshield coming off the straightaway.
Turn 4 and turn 2. Of course, just the exits of the corners, as we've talked about with the banking, the way that the banking falls away, the multiple lanes of banking, all that works against you, as we saw some contact there. I think Cody Harris had some contact with somebody off of turn number 2, but it all seemed to be well and peaceful in its end result, which is good to see. But up front, Schildhaus doing what nobody has really done, and that's maintain a single car lead of about 0.3 of a second. Thomas George, Wesley Donaldson, our top 3. Jose Gonzalez is in 4th, but he is not an easy 4th. They are wadded up behind him with the likes of Kevin Brown, David Comstock, Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97. I haven't mentioned him too much tonight.
Yeah, Hollingsworth looking really good. The car looks smooth. The Coast Guard Mission 22 mount is on that high side, currently in the top 10. He's getting shoved down the back straightaway by the 81 of Josh Parker, showing up as the Fastenal number 60. And Josh Parker is just on kill right now. He's driving and slicing and dicing as it looked like Macklin's sideways. Somebody's sideways every single time we come out of turn number 4 on throttle.
Yeah, there's always some driver with an erratic move down to the inside, nearly into the grass, and it just makes me kind of clench there that something might be happening. But all together, we keep it straight, so that is what matters here. And nice little breakaway that we have for about the, I'd say, top 4, Kevin Brown being the last, and we go about a half second back, and then we have a caution flag.
Yeah, yellow for the 98.
Charles
Troubles
Woods.
back on the back straightaway for Charles Woods. He's faced backwards, and he's just grabbed the gear and is going to drive away. Contact on that left side for the 98.
Is that Jorgensen? Something happened with Jorgensen that kind of T-boned him right there. We'll have to check that out. Jorgensen and the 08 met together, the 98. Yeah, he was an innocent bystander, but one more quick perspective of what happened with Jorgensen, because of course he was battling up front not that long ago. 41 to the outside of O'Rourke, the 08 of James Dewar, and I'm not going to dissect it too much, but they kind of met in the middle off the exit of the corner, and an innocent bystander to be had in that as well.
Yeah, I just wonder if that 88, the tire wear, is causing him an issue as he came up off the corner and the car just didn't turn. It floated all the way out. And good for Charles Woods not to hit anything as he was doing the Joey Chitwood two-wheel bicycle down there on the back straightaway. That's not something you see very often. And the good news is for him, he didn't go around. Well, they got to go to pit road and it's lap 40. We were talking about 20 lap stints with these tires, 5 sets of tires, one they start with, 4 they had on their pit box. The ideal time to pit is every 20 laps, and well, we're working another caution here on lap 38, which is close enough. 39 as they cross the stripe.
Yep, Jose Gonzalez, this is his first time to pit road on the day, and slightly outside of the fuel run. I think you estimated around 53 laps being the max, if I remember correctly. So that'll be what we'll be going about from math here, about 59 to finish this thing out once we go green. So even topping off won't matter, but again, that's all on the volition that this thing goes green to the end, which trend says probably we are safe on. But David Schildhaus, just got to talk about him again. That battle he has had through the field, 32nd to the lead in only 1/3's distance, and he's still in a good position in terms of tire situation. He's in a good position in terms of fuel. So he didn't just get to the front on strategy where he's detrimented. He's in just as good of a spot as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, as I look at this is Schildhaus of old. The execution has come back. There's no complications thus far, and he's been in control of this race once he got out front. And to the Tyler Dalton motif, it's been that kind of year where we see him up front in the first quarter of the race, and then once he gets in the mix, we just don't see him come back. And there has to be something he can do to make his way forward once he gets in the scrum, and we have not been able to see him do that. You know, it's fairly typical for that 19 to run up top 5 every race, and he's usually in the top 5, 2, 3 in points. But this year, it just seems like every time he gets mired back there in track position with this car, he can't seem to claw his way back into that top 10 race.
That, as a old timer myself, relative to a lot of these people anyways, reminds me of old Jeff Gordon in the mid-2000s when he was on his downturn. He could dominate a race, but once something went astray and he got back in the mid-pack, unlike Jimmy Johnson, he couldn't get himself out of the pack. He just didn't have that feel in the dirty air, and some drivers are like that. You give them the best, give them a car in clean air, they can run record laps, but put them in the pack and they just turned average. But, you know, not to say that his race is over. We are not even halfway, but it'll be Schildhaus, it'll be George on this restart. Donaldson, Brown, Coleman, and Harris will be the first 3 rows. Got to keep an eye on that number 38. He doing quite well getting himself to the field as well.
Interesting year so far for Thomas George. He finds himself running second right now. Best finish of the year was 5th at Martinsville Speedway, and it's been on and off, maybe near top 10 and then a 30th position and then a 8th place and a 39th. And you know, the consistency hasn't been there. He's got 2 or 3 top 10s, but this is maybe the race where he could break out and get himself a win. And Schildhaus back on the throttle, crosses the start-finish line to work lap number 41. Look who's entered the mix, the 91 of Wesley Donaldson, now fighting for second.
Yep, he is battling for second as they are all stacked up here off of the corner. I saw the 6 of Thomas George get really loose. Who is that all the way down to the bottom? That is the 60, which I am now acknowledged to the fact that that's the 81 of Josh Parker. He's down to the inside of Coleman going 3 wide. Very shallow entry. He will probably struggle with that. Coleman, he got tight in the center, had to back off, but he's going to recover off of the exit of the corner. That battle will remain 3 wide, and they'll be 3 wide behind that as well. That is the 30 of Brian Macklin. That is Comstock. That is the 97 of Hollinsworth. 3x3 enter in turn 1.
Yeah, and the driver trying to find a gap and opening is the 51 of Justin Fuller. He won the last 2 weeks. He would love nothing more to make it 3 in a row. as they charge off of turn 2. He's running back there just outside the top 10 as saw one car hit the outside wall up there. That might have been the 31 of Eric Arnold, but he keeps his foot planted in it as out front Schildhaus still in control of this race, but he's got the 91 of Wesley Donaldson right there behind him, half car length back, closing to the back bumper. Schildhaus not able to get away this time as the 91's applying pressure.
Yep, and that point in the race where you have to wonder, is he ready to go for the lead? Is he content to stay in second? I've seen kind of each strategy work its madness here at Michigan. Sometimes, just stay in line, work with the guys, stay ahead of the pack, kind of draft your way, or he could do what he's doing right here, get that clean air on the nose. And we'll find out, is he looking to make a move? He's going to get the run off the corner using that highlight. Is he going to give the shove to the 20, or is he going to go for the lead himself? He's going to put it in 5th, I believe. Yep, puts it into 5th, and Schildhaus with a little bit of a block. But all for naught for the time being, and we'll try it again here in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, we've not talked much about the shifting factor here. Some of these drivers to get the car to drive up off the corner will go down in that gear, and they'll also use it to slow the car and get it to turn. And sometimes you get the run just like we saw for the 91. He just flat drove out. Typically you don't make that pass on the leader without somebody pushing you from that high side. He wound up the volume there as crossed around, and it'll be the 91 of Wesley Donaldson. He's going to lead the lap here. New leader, 91, Wesley Donaldson to the point.
He is, as we're on lap number 45, nearly halfway. Worth noting, we are still at a 43-car field. Mike Montesi and Gerald Livingston. The only two out of the race. Charles Woods debatably, no, he's still running. He is on the lead lap too, so still a 43-car grid, which is great to see at this juncture in the race. Not really much attrition to report, but here comes Thomas George. He's running that 3rd lane. Haven't seen anybody up there, but here comes Schildhaus. Lost the lead, going right back at it. That's going to be door to door. That's going to pull the next two drivers in, make it a 4-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, Donaldson lost the lead at the line that time. I believe Schildhaus carried it, but now Donaldson has the help of the 6 behind him. Usually 2 cars in tandem will be superior over the car on the bottom as George gets a good run. The 20 comes up to do a little aero block. It's not going to work. George moving around to that 2nd position. He's to the back bumper of the leader, looking for more.
Yes, he is looking for more indeed, as Schildhaus stuck to the inside, not really getting any momentum on that inside, getting bit down. The momentum comes from behind him. Look at Justin Fuller. You talked about him winning 2 weeks consecutively, trying to pull off the hat trick. And this is the best he's run here on the evening in that league sponsor vehicle here, that number 51 in the 7th position. Here goes Josh Parker to the outside of Cody Harris. Cody Harris has been up front. I don't think he's actually led a lap yet. No, he has not, although he was in the thick of it for quite some time. But look at this as we look through the long shot there, Kevin. We're assembling a little bit of, as I say, normalcy here. Yes, we're 2 wide. Yes, we're 3 wide at times. But starting to string out here, get some laps together, kind of seeing who has what.
Yeah, when it gets to this stage where tire wear starts to come into play, you get a little bit of a conga line as everybody kind of lines up. And again, they start to take advantage of the high side a little kinder when the car doesn't turn as well. As Donaldson now in complete command of this race. He's holding his own out front. And, we always say this, out in the back, you do some of the hardest racing you'll ever do in the season running a racetrack like this for 13th or 18th or something like that.
Yeah, exactly that. And at this point in the race, you have to make every position matter, because now it's, you don't have everybody under a bubble, as I'll kind of stop that thought there, because the 51 and the 95, they were duoed up off the corner. I saw some big wiggles from the 95, but he saved it. But yes, at this point in the race, you don't have everybody under a bubble 4 wide. You can't just make some bonsai move and gain 5 spots in 2 corners. At this point, it's pick them off one at a time, try not to get repassed. So the intensity of making each pass is that much more important later in the run, because it's harder to get that next one after that.
Yeah, when tire wear starts to set in, it becomes very difficult to execute the pass. You really have to play the draft well, the dirty air well, draw back up on the bumper as you come in and then cut left to make the execution in that Michigan slide job in through the corner. But right now, everybody seems to be content to run in the tire tracks of Wesley Donaldson, George Schildhouse, and everybody all the way back to the 26 of Jose Gonzalez running in 17th, all on the same tire strategy, or at least went to pit road 25 laps ago, the freshest tires in the field for the 17th position of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. We'll see if Jose can parlay that. To your point you made earlier, he ran those old tires for longer. He's got a couple sets in case we get a little caution fever later in the race.
Yep, and you'll have to make those decisions to see. And we're seeing drivers. You talked about running the wall, and a lap ago, I could have swore I saw Hollinsworth running the actual Larson line or Reddick line, Harry Gant line, whatever your age level is. Somebody down there all the way to the flat. Again, not uncommon to see that. Trying to see who that was. It was the red, white, and black car. Was it Bobby Wetzel? It may have been. Wetzel's day. Remember, he already had an incident here today. Turn 2 not doing any favors for him. Lost my train of thought, but luckily I don't need it because we're back to a side-by-side battle for second. Schildhouse to the inside, but again, nobody wants to do that inside lane at this juncture. He is the lone man down there. He's still trying to fight it, but an uphill battle, quite well, literally and figuratively.
You know, since we called out the Gonzalez car with the fresh tires, you watch him, everybody slides up to that high side on entry 3 and on entry to 1. Gonzalez carving down there, one lane up on the seam, and it seems like just about every lap he picks up a car because he's got the grip that he needs in order to execute the pass. As they come down the line here, yep, as usual, he's in 12th position, working 11th. And the Goya machine is on kill right now.
I saw Eric Arnold, and talk about running the wall line. Eric Arnold said, hold my beer for a second. He was all at the top of 4 wide, and then they came together. Saw some big smoke there exiting corner number 4. Luckily, that has semi-situated out and now to a poultry side-by-side. But there's Jose Gonzalez making another move to the inside. Again, the Goya car. Now he's looking underneath Macklin. Macklin looking underneath Hollinsworth, but again, those slightly fresher tires showing their stuff, and now he sees Fuller. Now he's just trying to get any more draft he can down that front straightaway to tow him down on that inside lane.
Yeah, he's got a friend in Justin Fuller. When Fuller's down there, he gets just a sniff of the draft. He's able to slide up, get to the quarter panel of the car outside of him. Typically, the way you want to execute a pass is to get to the right rear quarter panel and pull the car back. Then you can drive by. But a lot of drivers know these days that you never give that right rear quarter. You can go left all you want, young man, but we're not going to let you get to the outside. That's why you see a lot of these drivers hugging the outside fence out of turn 4. You know, you would think that they'd cut down to the front straightaway for the shortest path around, but everybody's up against the fence here on the quote-unquote front stretch.
Saw the 60 of, well, the literal 60 of Carvalage. Saw Trudell and who is that? The number 41 O'Rourke. They were doing not a tandem. They were doing a trio draft down that back straightaway. No, we're wrecking 10 car around into the fence.
No.
That is Beasley. And dragging a few others with him. 29, Paul Crumry. Sideways, whoa, big evasive maneuver by somebody there.
Yeah, working caution number 5 here on lap number 55 for an incident out of turn number 2. And, well, this is interesting because this puts them right at that position where they might be able to, with some saving, get to the finish. I'll have to see how this came together here.
I'll see for that 10 car, the tide ride. I think he just got loose. Yep, all by his lonesome there. And 14 and then 29 got involved. And again, just turn 2 being the trouble spot here on the day. And this will put us right around lap 40. So you said about this should be a fuel run potentially, or right on the cusp of it. Be probably 41 to green when we get to the stripe for the green flag.
Yeah, typically they can run 40 and change. I think it's 46, and we have 45 to go. So if you go to pit road, Although with the shifting going down to fourth gear, you tend to burn a little more fuel. So some of these drivers who are using that shift to get up off the corner have to be careful. But, you know, this type of racetrack, when you get to the end of the straightaway, if you let off just a little bit and let the car roll down through the corner, you could potentially save some fuel. And, well, look who stayed out. 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Everybody made that hard. And the Goya machine comes up and pulls into the back of the pace car.
The interesting thing here, and again, who are we to say anything, but he cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, make this race on fuel from here. So the worst case scenario for Jose Gonzalez is that this thing runs green. And the only Sim500 broadcast I did prior to this was Bristol, and he had the fastest car to start, and he ended up going 2 or 3 laps down because the strategy did not work to his favor. And he was completely put off strategy, and that race just ended for him miserably after that. So hopefully not a twin situation there, but yeah, certainly he's going to need another caution, probably ideally around lap number 80, I'd say, to make this work for him.
Yeah, I mean, I have Heath Ledger line from Badman running through my head. They lost their mind. This is what happens when drivers get inside 50 to go. I have a feeling it's going to be an elbows up brawl at this point, and I wonder if this strategy actually will pay dividends for Jose Gonzalez by staying out of the soup. Maybe that's not a bad call where there'll be some attrition. A lot of drivers will find some headaches in the next X number of laps, and if he minds his P's and Q's, he might be out in front of it all.
Yeah, still attrition has not been a thing thus far. We have had, I think, as you said, we're on 5 cautions, our race recap at this juncture. 5 cautions, 13 laps, 6 leaders for 9 lead changes, and the O'Rourke fastest lap of the race at a 39.1. But to that effect, yes, it's just a difficult call to make. You can't save enough. You're going on the call that there's going to be, you're banking on the fact that something else has to happen. But, you know, I'm sure, based on the trend, I'm on his side. I think probably it is going to work, but I've been on the opposite side of it as well, as we still only have 2 drivers out of the race, 1 driver 1 lap down. That is Charles Woods. And he is still in the pits. He has been for a significant amount of time, about 2 minutes, but still over 40 drivers on the lead lap here in the back half of today's Florida, oh, sorry, got my leagues mixed up, Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series here.
Well, if you're just joining us, 43 laps to go, 5 cautions thus far. We've had 8 different leaders, with Tyler Dalton leading 26 laps, the most on the outset. He's going to restart here in the 21st position as we stack him and rack him for a restart here. Drivers should be good on fuel if they mind their P's and Q's. And out front, 20 laps on the tires of Jose Gonzalez. He's got Donaldson, Schildhouse, Harris, and Parker in the top 5 as we come back to green. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, but we're just talking about how things were getting normalized out. Tire wear coming in 2 wide. Single file, you know, stringing out racing, that's what we had. Well, throw that all away. I think we're going back to 3 and 4 wide. Crazy racing to get things settled out here at Michigan. Into the restart zone once again. Barney will get them back underway. The jump goes to Gonzalez in the restart zone by about 2 car lengths. But now the rest of them are going to get wound on up, and how long can he hang on to that race lead?
Yeah, good jump for Gonzalez. He heads off to turn number 2. Turn 2, all 5 cautions occurred over there. Let's hope that things stay clean and green up off the corner. Everybody looks good so far. As well, here comes Schildhouse with a good run on the bottom. Got a little bit of help down there with the 81/60 of Parker. Parker's not going to follow him. And look at the run to the high side. Donaldson.
Now that's Donaldson. He puts himself into the safer barrier there, as they'll be 3 wide for second. But Schildhouse, after 1 lap, has already secured that lead. And now you have Gonzalez on older tires in the worst possible position in the middle of 3 wide. Gets into the quarter panel of Cody Harris, but luckily everyone able to save it. That could have been nasty. But now he's in the Mac, and oh, we're going around again. That's exactly what 26 needed, but not what Macklin needed.
Yeah, and I don't know how that happened, but they actually, it almost looks like drove out of that. We saw the incident occur where one car got turned sideways and back straightaway. There was smoke from the 30 car of Brian Macklin, and he somehow did a full pirouette and drove out of it.
Yeah, he lucked out there from the replay here. I don't have as good of a top-down angle of this as I'd like to with my camera pack here, but the cars in front of him were battling, the 7 and the 92. They got into it. He was the innocent bystander down the back straightaway, and luckily, again, all of that runoff from here at Michigan working to good avail for everyone to get them cleared of incident. But obviously well, I don't want to say obviously, but I'd say, I would assume obviously we will see Gonzalez coming to the pits. Obviously those old tires not working out. He needs the fuel. It would be a very, dare I say, interesting decision if he stays out, but we'll see what he chooses to do amongst everybody else.
Yeah, if I know Jose, probably stay there one more time for the good times. I don't know that he wants to give up that track position. Savvy veteran, been racing for a long time, and yeah, foregoes making that left-hand turn. You got a Taker's about the middle of the pack here, but Gonzalez going to stay out and stay in a fight.
If I was Larry Mack now, I'd be taking a literal page of my notebook, crumpling it up, and throwing it in the garbage because I know nothing. But we've had a lot of cautions here today. We are going to take this opportunity to do our one and only side-by-side break of the race. Stay tuned. We'll be back with you guys for the restart. Please stay with us. And we're back here on PTR TV, Sim500 Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series here at the Michigan Speedway for 100 laps. We are on our, I believe it to be sixth caution at this juncture, on lap number 63. David Schildhaus is our leader, the inside lane, the control car. Wesley Donaldson in that number 91 to his outside. Parker and Kevin Brown in row number 2. The restarts have been crazy. The racing has been crazy. That should only tune up here in the second half of the race. In the restart zone, and very even start amongst the top 2 as we drag race down the front straightaway.
Yeah, these restarts are treacherous. I know that. Out in the back of the field, when they say green, 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 you almost have to take a 2-count pause to keep from running the car over in front of you as they are side down the back straightaway for the lead. No surprise, it's this way every time. There's one car. What is that? We got 2 cars sideways down on the 04 maybe.
And that's Doug Sigmund. It's off the racing surface, so technically iRacing usually lets it fly unless admin intervenes. We'll very quickly take a look at on the PTR TV replay. He just turned down the track into Rivera and got loose, and he was the first driver to meet the concrete there against the inside wall. But again, we stay green. His left front is not doing left front tire type things, but we race on.
We were watching that, but there was another car that was off into the apron. I'm not sure who that was. It was a Sim500 car. Oh, it was the 31 of Eric Arnold, the car you and I were wooing about, because he came off and got nicked and gathered the car together. We stayed green.
Fuller. Justin Fuller caught a little bit of safer barrier off turn number 4, hopefully to no detriment of his right front. I see a little bit of scuffing. That can very easily be... we'll try to get a little bit of a look at that. Perhaps if he can get a little bit of a draft, get closer to the 93 of Fuller. Well, Parker is going to interrupt our view. Well, looks like all right. A little bit of paint scuff, but looks all right there. So for you Fuller fans, I'd say he's still in the thick of it. That shouldn't have been too much of a hurt for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could make a season highlight reel of Justin Fuller hitting the right side against the wall just about every race. It's a cold trickle moment. Like, go out and hit the pace car because I want you to be perfect. He hits the wall every time using.
Well, hit the wall here because he keeps his streak going here, and battle going on for third. I think this is, we've seen Chad Coleman in the top 10 quite a bit. This is, I think, the highest he's been in a sustained fashion here, now in the 3rd position. And he is running just outside the line of Wesley Donaldson, trying to get that fresh air on the nose. Schildhaus, again, dedicated to the lowest line, but look at those outside lanes. This is what comes from them. The huge run down the straightaway. Schildhaus trying to block the outside. 91 goes all the way up there. Schildhaus with the block shove from Coleman. Keeps them right on each other. 1, 2, 3 into turn 1.
Yeah, for Schildhaus, he knows he has to protect that outside. He's one of the drivers that typically has a live spotter who's giving him the looky-loo of what's going on behind him, whether they're working hard to go underneath or to the outside. And I'm looking at Chad Coleman. This is a Chad Coleman kind of race. The veteran knows how to get around here. He's had a modest season, running 7th in the points right now. Had a top 5 just a short while ago, and this is the type of racetrack I'm not surprised to see Chad Coleman show up at.
I raced with Chad Coleman years and years and years ago, almost 10 years ago on the iRacing service. We had some good racing. He has evolved. I have not. Over the course of the time, doing a lot better than I am. That's Callan Tony in that 84. Saw him kiss the safer barrier on corner exit, just enough to scrape the paint, not enough to do any damage here. But dare I say up front, I'm starting to see a little tiny bit of patience amongst the leaders at this point. I think it is maybe to the point of staying out of the pack and drafting ahead of all the chaos. I think that may be the play here. Someone I do want to reference is Jose Gonzalez. Again, we questioned him heavily, and more so for not pitting on that last caution. Now he's back to 28th and dropping like a rock right now.
Yeah, I think he's banking on late race cautions. 31 laps to go. Still a lot of time in this race as Wesley Donaldson, about a lap ago, out of turn number 2, got the run to the outside, got to Schildhaus's corner, went around him, now leads by a car length as he picked up the lead on lap number 70 to be our 10th different leader here tonight.
We were talking 20 laps in about, oh my God, Tyler Dalton is just lighting things up here with the perfect race, and that not to be added. And look at Mark Jorgensen. He was in the midst of a wreck in the beginning of the race. And here he finds himself recovering back into the 5th spot. Just talk about the yo-yo day. This is the utter definition of it. Justin Fuller pulls down underneath that pseudo 60 car of Josh Parker. Perhaps a little bit of contact puts Parker all the way up the track into nearly the fence, if not actually into the fence, as he will drop and lose all that momentum. Check that out very quickly on replay. Watch here, the 51 with the big dive. As you said, the Michigan slider gone wrong. A little bit of contact. Huge wiggle, 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 wiggle. Save it. Keeps it out of the fence. Masterful driving.
That's when you have one of those moments where you really tense up and you just need to relax and let the car find its grip and then steer yourself out of it. Don't get too excited and you won't find the barrier. Here comes Stephen Miles, where he is one of those drivers that is good on the long run. I'm not sure he's loving all these cautions that we've seen, because that 24 probably has some speed if we can keep this thing green.
There's Bobby Wetzel there in the 9 car. Remember, he has had a couple issues, but now he's trying to work his way. Currently in that 15 spot, much higher than he's been in recent laps. But yeah, the 81 of Parker now back to the 16th spot. You can see Tyler Dalton just behind as well. He, again, we talked about him. Once he got in the pack, he just normalized out. He's been stuck. No coming, no going. Just kind of stabilized out since he's had, the strategy work as it may. But look at Schildhaus up front. Again, running that inside lane. He got through the center masterfully. You'd think he was on 50-lap pressure tires the way he cut through the center of the corner there. Gets the run, somebody into the fence. But again, that 20 is just... He is not showing patience. He wants to lead every possible lap from here to the checkers.
Two drivers quietly putting together a pretty solid race. The Kevin DeBrown, number 93, running in 7th. The Racing Pride Ford just kind of lurking back there. He's running behind Thomas George in the 6th, who's been in that top 10 all night long. That 6 Valvoline car has a lot of speed here tonight. And right now they're just kind of logging laps, I think, as... it is said they're hanging on there and waiting for this to break as both of them go to the fence.
Yeah, that old thing, when you get the person in front of you do something, if you're that close to them, you kind of just follow them, whether intentionally or not. It's actually a problem I have as a driver, is I follow the guy in front of me so closely that when I get in front, I forget how to drive. Sometimes that happens even to some of the more upper echelon drivers here on the service, as they miss that safer barrier by a whisker. But look at that separation we have. I think it goes from 24th Alan Wild in the 07. We go back to Eric Arnold. We have about 2.5 seconds to a little trio of drivers, just kind of get everybody else on camera. There's Jose Gonzalez, and we saw Richard Beasley, and just kind of showing everybody. Joey Katina back there. Again, still have 42 drivers strong on the lead lap, as now we are in the final quarter. 4th quarter, 75% through. Let's see what these guys can do. No tires to be needed, no fuel to be needed for most. We're just battling to the end, hopefully.
Yeah, a handful of drivers we haven't talked about. That doesn't mean we aren't going to see them. Say the Caterpillar Camaro, run by Ron Hollifield, running back there in the 36th position. And, some of these drivers are just back there biding their time. And if they make the right moves, in an Earnhardt-esque kind of fashion, you might see somebody like DeAndre Kane, currently running 31st, charge himself into a top 10. It gets so hectic at the end of the race, and the runs become so frantic that a late race caution puts you in the position to make a couple smart moves, and next thing you know, you're challenging for a top 10. So never count any of these drivers who we've not heard anything. Have we said Randy Yoakum's name tonight? I don't think so. He's running 22nd in the number 8.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing him other than the starting lineup, perhaps. But yeah, that number 8 running in the 22nd spot, battling with Frieri there in that number 2. He was a presence earlier in the race, but the second half of the race hasn't gone to his liking. But we do have another battle for the lead. Schildhaus to the inside, Coleman working with Donaldson to the outside. They're going to force that 20 on that inside groove where the grip is less, the momentum is less, but it is the shorter distance round. And Schildhaus, that's all he needs. He needed that distance. He cleared 91 perhaps into the fence. Move the 38 into second, and here comes Fuller. He gets third, and now he's actually going to look for second as well.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the amount of runs that Schildhouse has been able to make on the bottom. The only other car hunting down there is the 88 of Jorgensen Jr., and Schildhouse has just been able to make that cut, just riding patiently, but when he needs to make the move, he's able to execute the pass and finds himself back out front here again for the fifth time. Oh,
that was an Alex Bowman hit there from Jorgensen in the 88. Hard right hand head-on hook into the turn 2 wall here at Michigan. Instant replay on screen. Big hit from Kevin Brown, and yeah, right hand hook into the wall and some residual contact. Callan Tony got involved as well here. Our turn 2 camera will change to that here because it will show kind of all the residuals happen here.
Yeah, just that little tag in the beginning got him loose and pile drive the wall, and then he got absolutely slammed by the 84.
The Mountain Dew car to the inside, completely by Bentley Glazer, complete bystander getting involved in that.
I also saw E.J. O'Rourke, the unit's Toyota, backed into the wall with severe rear end damage on that number 41.
Well, who needed that caution? None other than Jose Gonzalez. If he doesn't pit, I give up a life. He has no choice but to pit. The question is, and I believe the answer is yes, we've run far enough. We've run 23 laps. They should have a set of tires to avail. I would imagine this should be a pretty easy 4-tire and top-off stop by everybody, but just because I said that means they probably won't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think everybody's going to come to pit road. They've got a fresh set of tires left, and maybe somebody wants to save one for that fun. But yeah, look, when the leader comes in, everybody's going to follow suit.
Not
a single contrarian there at all.
The only question left to be answered is it going to be 4 tires and fuel? Is it going to be any 2-tire stomps? I mean, at this point, with enough laps left, I don't imagine so, actually. Did Schildhouse. Case in point, my inner Larry Mack knows absolutely nothing. But, you know, depending on the handling there, Kevin, we all know that 2 tires has the ability to loosen a car up. Perhaps Schildhouse was complaining about a tight car. Maybe he just thought that 2 tires would free him up, and maybe that would just be the edge he needs to finish this thing through.
Yeah, he could have also been riding there and just kind of taking care of his left side. So you don't see a ton of left side wear on this car. It's really all about the right side, although I do think that left front tire helps the car cut to go left, and he's been favoring the bottom line. So we'll have to see if that changes anything. His ability to make those low line passes as Justin Fuller picks up the lead.
And the only other driver to take a strategy call on the pit stop there was actually Kevin Brown. So we'll see how that plays out. And
did Fuller take 2? He must have, for that track position.
I'm showing Fuller at a 14-second pit stop. Now we got Nelson Rivera being scored as the leader right now, according to my data. And then Schildhouse, Coleman, Fuller, and Kevin Brown.
He must have crossed the line, and they picked him up as Schildhouse went to his box. But now it's going to be Schildhouse picking it back up as timing and scoring catches up. So Fuller led when they went down pit road.
Yeah, it's just in the way the pit boxes are lined up. But it'll be Nelson Rivera leading this race down with 24 laps on his Goodyears. That would leave him about a 42-43 lap run with the fuel saved under caution. Should be fine on fuel, but certainly the tires are to be detrimented, and I do think he has a little bit of damage. Remember, he was involved in some little skirmish earlier. I think that right front is a little dinged up, and I can't really get away with that too well here at Michigan, but he'll try to do with that track position the best he can.
Yeah, I think with all the cautions, these drivers have had ample time, and the pit stop is, or caution lap is forever at this racetrack. So all of these drivers have had these incidental incidents to get their cars fixed, but we'll see whether That 22 is none the worse for the wear, as he is the control car here for the restart. The LaRue number 22 is going to take us back to green here on lap 3.
Chad Coleman, who has been very aggressive in the back end of this race, he will start behind him. Will he give the push to the 22, or will he immediately look to duck out of line? We'll see what happens. And of course, Schildhaus, who has dominated the second portion of this race, has one of the only cars that can make those solo moves that nobody else can seem to do. He can do it, and he's going to be on the outside of the front row. Barney will wave the flag, and huge jump goes to Rivera, and there goes Fuller picking up Schildhaus to the outside. Brown giving a decent shove to Coleman there on the inside lane.
Yeah, if Coleman can get to that high side, he might be able to parlay that into a run for the lead, as he just did that. Now he's in front of the 20, and here comes Brown on the charge.
Yeah, big push there from Schildhaus to Coleman down the back straightaway. Brown to the inside by his lonesome. Coleman should be able to clear, and we will be under caution once again. Jason Pick, if he was your draft pick, wasn't a good one. He is around on the backstretch, and we'll see. Was it instigated? Was it a self-induced mistake? 4 wide. Yeah, they all met in the middle.
Yeah, when you come off of that backstretch, to the backstretch from turn 2, a lot of times you'll run right out to the outside fence. Well, everybody underneath you is lining up to the racetrack, and if you pull off that fence just a little bit, you end up connecting with the right front of it underneath. We've seen that. What is this, the 8th time here tonight as that 53 went for a spin?
Yeah, but I think maybe 6 of our 8 cautions have been, however many cautions we're at, I'd say probably 75% of them have all been a driver spinning off of turn number 2 at some junction or another. And turn 4 last night for me was the trouble spot, but again, here today it's been off of turn number 2. Again, if you're watching here on PTR TV and if you have not liked and subscribed, we would appreciate if you do that. We are only a few subscribers away from 1,700 subscribers, so any last second help we can get for that. Be live, actually be in the build week. We're going to be a little light this week, but of course we'll be back next week. We will have the Triple Bypass League on Sunday night. That'll be some next-gen action. We'll be back here on Monday night. Will we be back here on Monday night? Question mark. Looking at my schedule on the fly. Yes, we will. At Rockingham for 150 laps. That'll be some good racing. And then Pocono. Pocono will be getting one of those visual refreshes. So it will be looking dandier than ever here in our Sim 500 stream. So stay tuned for that here in 2 weeks' time, as we will continue pacing for at least 2 more laps.
I'm making plans to go to Pocono this year. I love going to the racetrack on Sunday and getting home in time to race Sunday night and then call the race on Monday night. It's always fun to stand on the front straightaway and dream about the way the cars go down the track and then go home at night and race it. I saw a bunch of different cars go to pit road here, giving up the track position. I guess most of them at this point are doing damage control.
Yeah, I'm taking a look here through 4 laps. Seems to be a couple drivers back, maybe 4 or 5 back of the pack coming to pit. And I'm just looking at the schedule here. Then actually the end of July, we have a bonus $50 race at the Indianapolis Oval. So extra money on the line, again, as we hit the summer stretch. So some good racing to be had. They're always looking for members here at Sim500. I think you can still join at sim500.com, and a bunch of other racing series here throughout the week. I know there's Xfinity, I think there's ARCA, so a lot of good stuff here. So if you like Sim500, want to get involved, absolutely go check them out and get yourself that opportunity here. So let's see if we get 1 to green as the laps tick away ever so quickly. I think we'll get 1 to green this time by, and just amazingly so, Kevin, after all of this time, we still have 40 drivers on the lead lap here.
Yeah. Yeah. No quitting these guys for sure.
That'll be 1
And all of these drivers up in this top 10, I think we can point at a bunch of them and say what kind of incidents and troubles they've had, but yet the fight has not gone out of them. Still competitive.
Yeah, that number 20, I think he's been clean. Coleman. But you go through the pack, again, the 22. This point in the race, it's a tough call to pit from that position. If I was Rivera, I probably would have waved the white flag and pit there. You saw how quickly he got swallowed up there. Is it? But, you know, kind of a tough spot. I guess if anything could be a net gain, even if I don't know where he was running prior, but ultimately if it's a net positive for him, even if not top 10, you know, if he's better than he was, that's what you're looking for here. But I guess, Kevin, if you had to put your DraftKings bet on the table right now for the next 14 laps, who's your pick?
I have no idea.
Well, good thing we don't have any money on it, but
it's hard to beat Shieldhouse. He just somehow always seems to you know, call on the magic lamp or something. But the crowd would go very favorable if the veteran Chad Coleman get himself a win.
Yeah, I had some really good races with Chad back in the day. He beat me here in a photo finish back in 2016 that I'm still not over with yet. But I'll root for him because he's driving a Chevy nonetheless. So we'll go against the green and not go for Shieldhouse because that's what everyone always does. With green flag back in the air, 38 gets the push from Kevin Brown, and they will tag team their way up. Is Brown clear of Shieldhouse? He is. And will he go up the track and clear him? He will not. Shieldhouse has that lane to the outside, has the push from Fuller. And he will be in position to maybe go 3 wide down the back, but he will go down and try to go 3 wide, but Kevin with the block, but not enough. Here goes Shieldhouse.
Shieldhouse able to take advantage of the draft down the back straightaway. Leap down on the inside, but he hasn't covered Kevin Brown yet. Brown is at his quarter panel pulling him back, and he's going to draw even. Shieldhouse goes down to get away from the draft. It's not going to work. Kevin Brown leads lap number 86 with a push big time coming from the 88 of Coleman.
Shieldhouse wanted so badly to go up there and try to block the run from Coleman, but was not able to happen. Shieldhouse wants to get this clear done on the bottom quickly before he burns the tires on the inside, but he's been the only one that can really make that inside lane work. He has been able to do that Michigan slider just like that, but look at the 93. He's going to pinch him low, but either way, Shieldhouse will still clear. But what will happen to the momentum off of 4? He's going to the inside, Coleman Brown running the outside, and we're wrecking at the front stretch.
Yeah, big hits as we see several cars turning. Fryery's involved. The 54 of Jimmy Coleman is in this one. Quite a few cars making contact there on the front stretch. I have to say, I'm so impressed with the ability for Shieldhouse with those 2 tires to execute that low line and hold the cars. Who's that one squirting down through the grass there?
Let's try to find out here on our replay. Oh, big wiggle from Macklin there. He wiggled, and then it just kind of turned into a reactive situation after that. But it seemed like that 30 just got loose by his lonesome there off turn number 4, and about maybe 4 to 5 drivers having issues, many using that infield grass to their benefit to get around. Of course, no valences to be tore up here on the iRacing grass, so that is not a problem worth having, but they'll get tallied up, and once we go back green, we will be sub 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm adding lines to my caution meter. I didn't think we'd get this far in this tracking, but you know, it's more impressive to see what David Shieldhouse is doing, given the fact that the 93 of Brown and Coleman are teammates. So you know that they're going to team up, do the tandem, try to make sure. At this point, sorry, children, nobody wants to work with children. He's won too much. That's how it. Those seasons when you have time winner, it's kind of like dogpile on the rabbit. You don't want to support that driver. You want to keep him from getting wins to get some for yourself. But at this point, he's just executing flawlessly. He's found something in that low line grip, something only one other driver who's sitting down on pit road after a catastrophic event, the 88. That's the only other driver seen using that line that children is making advantage of there, Mr. Shieldhouse.
Yeah, I've seen him go to the inside. I'm not sure. Maybe he has it timed when he's in 5th. He does that slider. Maybe he pops it down into 4th, keeps the momentum up, and drives himself off the corner. But yeah, he can make that move work and not lose the speed that everybody else has. And more importantly, he's able to sustain it over multiple laps. It doesn't seem to kill the tires in the same way that you'd think. So this juncture with 10 laps to go. He's led 30 of them.
It has something to do with the tires cooling off in these cautions, right? And that the grip level, you can sail the thing down into turn 1.
We are down 8 degrees on our track temp here, as I think we started the race around 1:25 sim time. We are now down to a little after 3 o'clock sim time, so little extra grip to be had, although most of this speedway is still under, well, all of this speedway, no shade to be had, so still a whole bunch of baked asphalt here at Brooklyn, Michigan, but we'll see if Schildhaus can hold on. Kevin Brown has put a solid fight on. Josh Parker, remember, he had issues and fell back to 15th once he got loose there off of that contact with the 93, I think it was. But he's worked himself already back in the top 5. Don't count him out.
Yeah, marker behind them, the 6 of George is back there. The 24 has quietly put together a top 10 run. Stephen Miles sitting there in 6, and you know how this goes. If these cars in front of them get side by side, they make such a big hole in the air that the draft could pull through, and you'll see somebody sneak down underneath. A la Stuart Friesen. Congratulations, Stuart Friesen, on the win. So exciting to see him get a win.
Yeah, exactly that. That was a truck race on Saturday. Super good. Nice to see a veteran driver win it in interesting style there. Of course, watching the real world, and I always like to see those pseudo underdogs get a victory here, which is the point we had a little bit earlier. That's why a lot of people don't want that 20 to win. You kind of want to see a different storyline up front, kind of share the wealth. But when you have a driver like the 20, the wealth is hard to be shared, because he will take it all if he can. And of course, Twitch is hoping that he is doing that very much so. But we're going to go green with 16 miles left, 8 laps to go. That should be about 5 minutes of racing, 5 to 6 minutes of racing, if we can do it. And I know that we have some green-white checkers in the bank, Kevin. I don't know the exact amount. I'll have you update me on that.
Yeah, I believe they do 2 here. 2.
So if we do need overtime, we have 2 of them, but hopefully we can get this sorted in regulation. The safety car has, the pace car has the lights off, so the potential most important restart of the night. Get the right jump. Don't get too good of a jump. Set yourself up for a good draft and a good move. But let's see what happens here in the restart zone. Schildhaus will get them going on that loud pedal. There he goes. A little bit of a wiggle from the 93 up top. Coleman with the push. Let's see how they fan out into 1.
2x2x2 pace car formation. Only one car drops to that high side. Schildhaus going to lead him down into turn number 1. He's got a good run off of turn number 2. He's got a challenge from the back bumper as here comes DeBrown to the outside. They're going to get side by side. It's a big wiggle by Bentley Glazer out back, but he keeps it straight. We're still green here in Michigan as they head to turn 3.
Big move by Josh Parker all the way to the inside. Perhaps a little bit of contact to Schildhaus on the entry of 3. That washes Schildhaus up the track. Fuller sideways, Fuller around. We're big wreck. We're big junk on the front stretch.
George
big
is
junk.
around. You see Tyler Dalton down through the grass. Multiple cars taking evasive action down there as now the 31 comes to rest here at the start-finish line. We're back under yellow again here. Caution number 10 at Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, that was not on my bingo card here today, but look at the 81/60. He's down on the inside, but Fuller, that was all instigated by his lonesome. He got loose on his own, and funnily enough, even though he instigated the caution, he drove away just fine in that. Yeah, he got loose, and there goes Chad Coleman's good race away, and Bentley Glazer involved. Chad Coleman, a double impact. Big hit from the 6 into the wall. Bunch of guys going through the dirt. You saw the 31s, dead sideways, middle of the track. Ada Randy Yoakum even got a last-second kiss there. So you said earlier there that don't write out the guys in the back. The DeAndre Canes of the world, the Randy Yokums, the guys that were in the mid-20s, and this is what those drivers need. They need these big, huge wrecks. They need to evade them, and then that gives the field just the opportunity to completely flip-flop.
Yeah, this reshuffle of the deck has happened a couple times, and that was off turn 4 for the first time. We've seen a couple on the front straightaway, but that was the biggest one, turn 4. And when you see 6 or 8 cars going down through the grass in order to miss the cars sitting flat sideways on the front straight, it's going to be a big one in Michigan, and we've got at least a half dozen, if not more, cars down on pit road banging the fenders out. One of them, unfortunately, the driver had such an amazing run all night long. Wesley Donaldson down there getting repairs.
Yep, that 91. You can see that right front quarter panel on that car. Not in an ideal state there. And other drivers caught through that, I believe. Jose Gonzalez, remember his strategy calls have been quite erratic here today, but he actually has a little bit of damage. You can see that front valence on that number 26. Up in the air. That certainly will not help his top end speed, but he is still chugging along. But who's gotten up to the front? Paul Crumry, he's in the 16th spot, highest he's been on the day. Troy Haight, he is now in 13th, certainly the highest he's been here today. Joe Hudson, he's been in and out of the top 10 at various junctures. Patrick Colby, haven't talked about him, but look at the significant damage, and he chose to stay on the track with it.
Yeah, for Wesley Donaldson, he hit 3 or 4 times, and that the right front was pointed out. I think he broke a toe link, and he's going to go down a lap. So his race is done, and new cast of players up there. Don't count that 60 out. That Jason Karlova's car has always been pretty fast on the short run. With 5 to go, it's really, one of those situations where all those cars back there, and well, look who cleared through all that. The 19 is now sitting in the top 10.
He has worked his way back up. The struggle that has happened. Nelson Rivera, even though his tires are much older and he does have a little damage, these wrecks work in his favor, allowing him to keep some modest track position. So it's a good job for him. Chad Coleman, you can see the damage. He was involved in that last wreck. We'll kind of get the rear onboard camera from Schildhaus, and that's actually some quite significant damage to that number 38. I'd be surprised how well he can maintain in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. You're just going to keep your foot planted and get what you can out of it and try and stay again out in front of any of it. As the attrition late here in this race, George, Comstock, Miles, Donaldson, Callan, Tony, Fryery III, Joey Jatina, all finding troubles here within the last 5 to 10 laps. Alan Wild, and of course the biggest loser on the night, scored 42 in the finish. Jorgensen Jr. after such a strong run, but we're about to get down to business here. 5 to go. The pace car turns left. Going to turn it over to Kevin DeBrown. He's got Josh Parker, teammate, underneath him. We're going back to green to settle this.
Brown using that outside lane here in the restart zone. Big push from Fuller, but he loses the connection there, falls back. Schildhaus has the connection to the back of Parker as we are now 4 laps to go. Remember, if we get to the white, that's the important timer. We'll have to use one of our overtimes here today. Looks like Schildhaus trying to pull the middle move. Parker will clear. So that number 60/81, full command. Are we wrecking down the back? We are wrecking. Will it stay off the track and keep us green? Answer is yes for the time being. No, it's not.
No. Usually when you have a car that sideways and everybody near it, that's going to draw the caution, and such is the case. We go to caution number 11 for...
Yep, and 95, Cody Harris, he drove it, just manhandled his way underneath the 92 and then just kind of drove up into the 44 and kept it to the inside. And this is the point I was like, oh, he came back onto the racetrack.
Right. Yeah.
If he kept it on the flat.
At that white line at 90 degrees, that's going to draw that.
Somebody else who knows the algorithm. Wow, that doesn't happen too often. I met someone who knows technicalities like myself. But this will put us into overtime because we will have, at minimum, this is the catch-up lap. So next time by would be 2 to green. So yes, this will put us into overtime, of which we will have 2 of. Josh Parker did a great job on the ins to get that lead from the inside lane. And I guess that makes you wonder, is he going to choose the inside lane on this restart? Because Kevin Brown chose the outside. because you think that outside having the momentum was the good choice to be, but I think on that opening lap, Kevin, where you're still up to full, you're not up to full song, you can maintain the bottom easily. I think you want the inside through 1 and 2 on the opening lap.
Yeah, it sure seems that way, and they learned that from Schildhouse. And additionally, one of the things I noticed is they went down and covered Schildhouse's run coming out turn number 2, whether it was Parker or whether it was Kevin DeBrown. One of them, I think, was sure they were parked in front of the front bumper of the 20 in order to kill his run generated down there. 2 of them could fight it out. We'll see. Schildhouse, the lofty veteran, he knows how to. I wouldn't count him out yet. And Justin Fuller might have had that squiggle off of turn 4, but he's sitting there in 4th as Anthony Calantoni gets the lucky dog and is going to drive around and come back to join the lead lap, I believe, here.
Nope. He will still be 1 lap down. So he was 2 laps down. He got half of them back. So he is, I think, the only driver 1 lap down. Bobby Wetzel in the pits. Still on the lead lap if he can get out before the pace car still has about half a lap to go. So again, up front, just looking through other drivers. We were kind of looking through other drivers we haven't spoken of who have found themselves in decent positions here. Kyle Trudell, he is in the 11th spot. He is in a bruised and battered Battle Beaver Toyota, but has himself in a decent position. Glenn Campbell in that 44. I don't think I've said that name once. Here he is in 14th. Doy Woods, 92, 17th spot. And just salvaging the attrition and just making the most of it.
Yeah, and every one of these drivers we just talked about has had some extracurricular activity this evening. I don't think there's hardly anybody that hasn't been in the fray, and I'm going back and saying, I'm not sure what Jose Gonzalez is doing. He pitted, 9 laps ago, and he's back in 26. I don't know if he's trying to get damage fixed, and that's why he keeps going to pit lane. But
that valence.
We're now a green-white checker of 1 of 2, and he's still mired deep in the field with no track position.
Yeah, he's just he's worried about that valence, but as we've said, we have more damage up front than just a bad valence. We have Chad Coleman, we have Rivera, we have a myriad of guys up front who are beaten and battered, but they're just going to try to troop it here for 4 more miles, what could be 8 more miles if we have to go into overtime number 2. And of course, here on iRacing, the overtime rule says if we can get to the white flag under green flag conditions, doesn't matter how many cars are backwards, upside down, or wrecked on the white flag lap, once we take that white flag, under any condition necessary, we will cross the checkers under green flag. So the important part is running 2 miles and getting to that stripe. If we can't do that, we'll rack them and stack them 1 more time. But we'll see what happens. Brown and Parker on the front row.
This is it. This is for all the money, and these drivers know it. They need to get the best restart, not spin the tires, not crash into somebody behind them. Don't miss the shift. As the pace car is now on pit road, turn the field over to Josh Parker. They get to the restart zone. Parker down and away. Good restart for him. Schildhouse going to follow him through as 51 jumps lines, comes down underneath the 20. They are shuffling for position as Schildhouse pushes DeBrown out on the entry to turn 1. Now he's trying to get the run off of turn number 2. It is Parker leading to the back straightaway.
Now Schildhouse gets that lane for second, and now the snaking game goes on down the back straightaways. Everybody flailing around. Remember, we have to get to the white flag. Schildhouse gains via the slipstream down the back straightaway. Looks as though we're going to get the flag we desire. Coming off turn 4. 2 more miles for Josh Parker. Schildhouse has the draft. He has the car. Does he have the time?
Yeah, and don't miss that Kevin DeBrown's right back there. If those 2 draw side by side, they're going to create a hole for DeBrown to come in. We might see a 3-wide finish here as Parker leads out of turn 2. Schildhouse draws up to the back bumper. They go down the straightaway. They've got a length on Kevin DeBrown as 1 car way down low coming off the turn 2.
And here comes Schildhouse, looking high, looking low, right to the back bumper of Josh Parker, all the way down to the flat, making space that doesn't exist. Parker gets a little loose. Schildhouse has the position. They're going to go door to door down the front straightaway here at Michigan. Who's going to get it? It's going to be a photo finish. He's going to turn right into him. Doesn't matter. Schildhouse will get it at the stripe by 3/100ths of a second.
That was incredible. Schildhouse down in turn 3, carved down. I think he was at the apron, bumped the Parker car up, and then got alongside of him. Physically a wrestling match going down the front straightaway, and Schildhouse comes away with the win.
Now see, he's looking high, crosses over low. There was no space here, but he just made space, a tiny bit of contact. Parker kind of reacted, got a little bit loose, and then they beat and bang, and you could see right there, that was the big shunt that cost Parker that he just absolutely turned directly into him here, and utter carnage ensued behind. But either way, Schildhouse with another win. So for those of you who are hoping for an underdog story, you didn't get it. Schildhouse gets another one here. The fan base, the children will be happy as he does his victory donuts here on the front straightaway. And let's start wrapping things up here with our post-race show. Kevin will let them know the final rundown of results here.
Yeah, Schildhouse in for the win with Josh Parker, Kevin DeBrown. Troy Haight comes from nowhere to finish 4th. Tyler Dalton got that top 5. James Karlovac, Justin Fuller, Joe Hudson. Where did Macklin come from? I don't know how he squeezed into a 9th. Jeff Hollingsworth is going to get a top 10.
And we'll find Charles Woods in 11th. EJ O'Rourke, quite the up and down day, but that could be said for many. He will finish in 12th. Doy Woods, 13th. Kyle Trudell, 14th. Doug Roth. Then we have Bentley Glazer and Richard Beasley. Campbell Coleman in the Jimmy form. And then Shad Coleman, remember that damage detrimented him back to 20th.
21st for DeAndre Kane, Eric Arnold, Jose Gonzalez, 23rd, 24th. And 25th for Colby and Hollifield. Yoakum, Harris, Crumry, Workman, a top 30 for the 74, and 30th will be Jason Pick in the 53.
And just rounding things out here, yeah, Bobby Wetzel 31st, James Dewar in 32nd, Nelson Rivera, he was involved in some stuff, led a couple laps, but back to 33rd. Then we have Cal and Tony, these drivers all in some serious incidents. Cal and Tony, George, Comstock, Miles, Donaldson, Gattina, and Frieri. And then just to round things out on the last page, you can see as follows: Wild Jorgensen all the way back in 42nd, Sigmund, Livingston, and Montesi rounding out the field. But looks like we have second place here in the booth. I think Josh Parker, and Kevin has caught up with him.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, that was a wrestling match we called to the from the fourth corner to the front straightaway. Was there anything you could have done differently?
Not when I can't control. No, there's nothing I can do differently. You got a tool bag, like who racing like he's racing for $1 million. I mean, honestly, that was a disaster of a finish. Once or twice door banging, not 15 times. Honestly, I just wanted to be first before, because I'm very apologetic. I get over it quickly. I say sorry, but I feel like this guy that was trash. But it is what it is. So no, there's to answer go back to your question, Kevin. I'm sorry. No.
You were going down the front straightaway. You were looking in your rearview mirror, I'm sure, and wondering Kevin DeBrown would be behind you, or the 20 of Schildhouse. That Schildhouse pushed DeBrown up in turn 2, and it ended up being both of you going down the back straightaway. If you could have done it differently, was there anything you might have changed?
Zero things I could have done differently. I'll be honest with you. This package hides talent. So talentless drivers can stay up front with this draft package. They can send it in there and move you up the track and side suck you, and then door bag the shit out of you till the end of it. So this package really hides the talent. That's why I don't qualify. It's kind of pointless, but literally nothing you could do in that situation other than a drag race to the end cleanly with the guy on the inside. But we ended up playing bumper cars all the way to the end, and I mean, we're lucky. One of what we even finished first or second. It slows you down so much. Yeah, I mean, the guy in third could probably have won, but it is what it is, man. It's
their
just
own little brawl behind you there. I mean, you know, it was an interesting race. Take us through your race, the strategy, the tire wear. Tell us a little bit about the conditions tonight.
It was pretty straight up. I mean, this is the first week. I haven't raced. I mean, I made it past 9 o'clock. I've been wrecked, I think, the first 15 weeks and the first 20 minutes of the race. So I was actually having fun out there. I was having a good time. The strategy was pretty much straight up. It was we only had 3 sets for 100 laps. Try to save 2 sets after lap 50. So it was pretty straight up. Nothing really crazy. You got 2 tires at the end with Shieldhouse and Kevin. So once I got the lead, I knew it was pretty much my race to control. The only thing that could have happened is what happened. So it is what it is, man. It's just frustrating. It's a terrible year. Would have been good to.
It has been a difficult year, so top 2 at least. That has to help just a pinch, doesn't it?
No, not really. Feels like a waste of time. We don't make money here, man. We don't make money, Kevin. You know this. This is a fun game, right? You can't give me anything. I'm gonna go to bed pissed off. It's only a game, but you know we all take it kind of seriously. So we don't race for money. We're just doing it for fun and shit like that annoys me. Just stupid racing. That's all.
I do believe we can feel your candor on that, Josh. When it comes to who put you in the race car and gets you out here on Monday nights, let's give a shout out to your sponsors or anybody you want to say hello to.
Yeah, Corey. I don't think this might be Kevin, believe it or not, my first top 5 of the year. But great job broadcasting the races. I haven't been up here to tell you. You guys do great. I always give you guys kudos. You could be somewhere else right now on a Monday night, but you guys do this stuff. So thank you guys. Joey, he cracks me up. This is stuff he says pre-race, but everyone at Sim500, you know, for the most part, this is a tight group. You know, I wouldn't even say for the most part. It's a great group. So I have fun. It's just when you like it too much, you kind of take it seriously and you get frustrated. So here's the frustration part.
Yep, hard on your sleeve, and I have to wonder, does this mean a rivalry? You're going to come back next week?
Hey, no. But I don't want to. No, I don't. He does this streaming thing, which is great. He has fun, and I don't. There's nothing to do with anything. I'm over it already, which is why I want to jump up here and say what I wanted to say before I get over it. But no rivalry. It's just frustrating. That's all.
Yeah, I just think you're going to race a little harder next week if you're in.
Oh, you know that. But I mean, you've known me for 15 years. Would that change?
Yeah, no, I've known that, and I've also seen you park it in victory lane in that fashion. So we'll be interested to watch you at Rockingham next week. I'd love to see you come through the field, and I think you can get the job done. So thanks for putting on an exciting race for us. We appreciate it, and I know second isn't what you want, but best finish of the year for you. So let's see you get back here and talk to us again in the next couple weeks, huh?
All right, I'll see you guys.
There you go, Josh Parker for a second. He was a little salty there, Corey, but you can't blame him to have one taken away at the end, coming off of turn 4 after 100 laps. That's a hard one to swallow.
Fighting words indeed, and I don't have the ability to move people around, so if you can throw up our winner here, we'll talk to Mr. David Shieldhouse here. And all right, we got our winner here, David Shieldhouse. We just had second place in the booth, and I'll dare I say fighting words to say it nicely. I'll leave that by itself, but you continue your trend of victory. You get yourself out of your little funk that you've been in, and you had to kind of root and scoot a little bit to make some space for yourself. David, talk me through that last set of corners.
About as clean as you can do it, man. If he's got fighting words, he's fighting a one-man battle because I have nothing to do with it. If he wanted to get wrecked, I could have wrecked him. I didn't. He left me a car length in the middle of 3 and 4. I took a car length, and we fought it all the way back to the start-finish line. I held him up against the wall because that's how you have to drive these next gens. You have to kill the momentum. And I put a door on him. He put a door on me, and we raced all the way back. I mean, he's the one who hooked it hard left to try and wreck me, to try and right rear me and spun himself across the line. Like, I get that he's upset that he just lost the race when he was the leader taking the white flag, but I'm sure we could look at a lot of examples where it wasn't clean. That's about as clean as you can do it. That's good hard racing for a win, and that's really exciting. Great way to get number 9, and I'm just pumped, man. We started 32nd tonight, and my chat was down on me. The children were poo-pooing me. My spotter and crew chief and coach and psychiatrist Briar LaPrade was poo-pooing me for doing terrible in qualifying, but I told them all, we won from 33rd at Kansas, and we won from 32nd tonight, and I had a blast. This was really fun. I wish we didn't have as many yellows, because this was actually a really fun car to drive. The weather was perfect. The setup was good. Like, it was driving off the right rear. It was fun, but man, listen, if we could sit here and I know I haven't won in a few weeks. If we were sitting here and saying, oh my God, he's in a rough patch after 2 races of not winning, life is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, a winless streak for some drivers is 150 races. For you, we're talking about it after 2. So obviously things to be said there, but and then to be had, you take this little funk change here, you get yourself back to victory lane, and then you basically have to throw away everything you know about the next gen car, per what we're being told, as massive wholesale changes coming tomorrow, effectively. So, where does that put you back in the shop in terms of getting situated for next week? How much time are you going to have to spend kind of relearning what iRacing gives us circa tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this update brings. I think that I've extracted almost everything I can out of this car at this point, which I'm proud of. I think a lot of people have really figured it out and have gotten better at it as this season has gone on. But I think it all changes tomorrow. Tire model, aero model, everything is changing. And so I think it's a great opportunity for the whole league to sort of reset as we get into the summer months. I know Kevin sits there and talks about, these first few months are great, but when you get into the long summer, hot summer months of these races and some of these tracks we go to, that's where you're going to learn a lot about who's serious with this championship. But with basically a full reset coming and a lot of unknowns, yeah, it's going to take some work, I think, to figure this thing out. I'm going to rely a lot on others because I don't have the time to sit down and really, do the work. I really don't. It's hard for me to do that. So thankfully I have a lot of great people that I can lean on who are going to put the time in and learn, and I'm going to just have to drive the thing. I mean, that's how a lot of us are going to do this, just by driving it and learning on the fly. And I think that's exciting. I think that it opens up the possibility for a new exciting chapter here at Sim500 in the Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series. A great opportunity for some guys to right the ship if they didn't have a good start to the season, if this new cup car really falls into their lap. And I struggle. It's entirely possible that I don't pick it up quickly, or Jorg doesn't pick it up quickly, or this could be a whole league resetting change. I have no idea, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next week at Rockingham. Of course, a track not on the normal schedule, so most people probably aren't going to put too much wholesale practice on that. So we'll see how you can fare on the old bumpy version of Rockingham. But who do you want to give a shout out to, man? I know it's been a long night. It's been a rough night. It's been as you now know, a controversial night. But you did what you had to do. Who do you want to thank for it?
Yeah, first and foremost, a big thank you to Splash and Go Graphics for the beautiful paint scheme. 9 wins this year. I always, send a picture to Cosman, who paints these schemes. I send him a picture every time I win, and he doesn't understand. He's like, what are you doing to these guys? Just going fast and looking good while doing it. So shout out to Splash and Go. Big thanks to everyone at twitch.tv/Shieldhouse. The children were on the edge of their seats tonight, cheering it on and enjoying a great race, a great show. Big thanks, of course, to Cook Landscape Group for supporting the Cup Series here at Sim500, and to you guys at PTR TV for putting on a broadcast. Definitely looking forward to going back and watching this one. Shout out to Brad with his new house tonight. We know that he's not here, but he messaged me. I'm sure he was watching, and hopefully he enjoyed it. And we'll get ready for Rockingham, man. I love Rockingham. Great racetrack, really fun. I think it's almost a sinister track to bring a brand new race car and new meta and everything in this simulation to. It's almost sinister to do that because it's a hard racetrack that people struggle with enough as it is. So tune in next week. I think it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, well, better that than Mexico. Luckily, we don't have that yet. But either way, good luck,
Amen.
man. Yeah, good luck, and see what you can do next week, man. Go get him.
Thanks, Corey.
And now Kevin will catch up with our third place finisher here today. We have Mr. Kevin Brown.
Kevin to Brown, third place finish tonight. And I bet we're going to go back and talk about that restart. Tell me what happened there on that final run.
Which one? The first restart after we got the tires, Josh got a perfect start. I mean, asked him in the chat, I was like, dang, did someone hit you? He's like, no, I just got a good start. He's like, I'm better than you. I was like, okay, yeah. And then that last restart, I just couldn't get through the gears well. I started in first. I should have probably stayed in second, but it is what it is,
Yeah, it felt like, we saw the launch from the inside lane and Shieldhouse was able to draw along, and then he drove you up a little bit going into turn 1. It looked like a little wiggle out of turn 4, and at that point you were just a spectator through to it. But in the end, a third place finish, a solid job after a complicated night. An up and down night, elbows up brawl kind of night for everybody in the field. And, I know you had your moments tonight of contact and the close calls, but to come away from a third, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. We've been okay this season. It's just a matter of putting stuff together at the end of the races. First and foremost, apologize to Mark for wrecking him. I did not mean to destroy him, obviously, but I'm sure he'll owe me one soon, which is all right. But yeah, apologize to him. But yeah, other than that, it's just we just got to keep putting together good races like this, and we can stay in contention.
Talk a little bit about the conditions tonight. 2 tires, 4 tires, fuel runs. It seemed like every time the caution broke, it was at that 20-lap stint where it would be a decent time to go in and put 4 fresh tires on. So I don't know that did you ever get a run where the tire wear was a factor in performance?
I mean, not really. Towards the end there, I accidentally took 2 tires because I was going to take 4 on that last stop, but I slid through my box and I was like, well, might as well take 2 at this point. And I'm kind of glad I did because obviously it worked out for Shieldhouse, and I think it would have worked out good for me if I was able to get through the restart better. But I think I burned up my left sides a little bit too much in the last run, so it's a little bit looser than anything. But I mean, hey, 3rd place.
Yeah, and so tonight they throw away the book, right? New plans coming in for the update in the next season. We head off to Rockingham, which will be an unknown, but I don't know. Tell us. We had a full field of 45 cars tonight. People love this racetrack. Was it as fun as it looked?
Oh yeah, God, it was so much fun. Honestly, especially in the long run when it was kind of getting a little loose there, and you step out just a bit. It's fun brawling with everybody. I don't know if everybody else had fun in the back, but we definitely had fun up front.
Yeah, good choice in Pedro last week. Glad to see you back tonight, and nice to see you get a top 3. Give a shout out to anybody, Kevin, you want to say hello to.
Yeah, of course. Wesley painting the paint scheme. WBD Diecast. Check out Wesley's stuff on Instagram. Racing Pride for coming on this season and future seasons. And yeah, you guys for putting on the show. I can't wait to watch it.
There he is, 3rd place finisher tonight, Kevin DeBrown. He's getting lined up to get some strong runs. He's been coming, and I got to give a shout to Troy Haight. He started 10th on that restart. Kevin, I don't know if you saw him out behind. Came in through 4th after, who was it, Fuller and Karlovage went to the grass. Tyler Dalton with a top 5, and it just is indicative of the kind of interesting night that went all through the field. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's even going to be more crazy next, especially if we have 45 people for Rockingham. Oh my goodness, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's a track where turn 2 is just a bear, and that's going to be fun to watch. So thanks for the show tonight, Kevin. We appreciate it, and good luck next week at Rockingham. And glad you got a top 3 and looking good for the season. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys for doing what y'all do. I appreciate it.
There you go, Kevin DeBrown, 3rd place finisher tonight. We heard from Mr. Shieldhouse, our winner, Mr. Parker, who was, Corey, surprisingly pretty fired up about that. Yeah, that was interesting. I saw good hard racing. I know that was pretty brutal coming down the front stretch where the 2 of them were banging against each other. I suppose he'll go back and look at that replay at some point and realize that it is what it is when you're going for the win last couple 100 feet. But I have to say, I liked it. I was entertained. I think you were too.
Yeah, Michigan has been a thriller in the next gen and put on a great race. Obviously a little rough around the edges at points, but cream always rises to the top in the form of David Shieldhouse getting it by 3/100ths of a second. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe, have some fun if you haven't already done so on the YouTube side of things. Look for any help we can get. And we will be back next week with some more at the Rockingham Speedway in the new build. We'll see how these drivers can react to that new version of the next-gen car. That is going to be Corey and Kevin signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we will catch you next time.